Welcome back to part 14 of the Introduction to Insect Taxonomy. This will be a continuation of what we were talking about last time. Last time we were here on the Odonata. This is the dragonflies and the damselflies. And today we're going to be talking specifically about the damselflies, which are the Zygoptera, a subclass or a suborder within the Odonata. So, if you will recall, the Odonata were divided into three groups, but only two of them are of any consequences: the Zygoptera and the Anisoptera. So the Zygoptera, these are the damselflies, and the Anisoptera are the dragonflies. So we're going to start with the Zygoptera, and how I've decided to talk about this, because they're within any specific group of insects, there's just such an enormous number of insects to talk about. That I have decided that we're just going to talk about identification of some of the families that you can find in the United States and Canada. Not to say that these families can't be found in other countries, but these are the families that are found in North America, north of Mexico. So you have the Calopterygidae, the Caenagrionidae, the Lestidae, the Protoneurids, and the Platystictids. So of these five families, really these first three are the important ones. These are the majority. The Protoneurids and the Platystictids are very rare in the United States. They're only found in the Southwest. And there's only, I believe, 3 genera amongst these two families. So we're not going to be super concerned about those two, although we will look at them. But these first 3 will be the majority of the damselflies that you see out in the wild in the United States. As a reminder, the difference between the damselflies and the damselflies are generally much smaller and more delicate, whereas the dragonflies are kind of bulky. The dragonflies tend to hold their wings out to the sides, whereas damselflies tend to hold their wings vertically behind them. So, additionally, as a reminder about the damselflies, they are partially aquatic. So this is a damselfly larva, and they are, all of them are aquatic. So in the rear end, you have 3 leaf-like gills coming off the back of the abdomen, and they also have a prehensile labium, which is this lower jaw, which they can snap out like an extra arm and grab prey. So they are all carnivorous. So they will be in the water for most of their life until they crawl to the shoreline and undergo their last molt, where they will finish developing their wings. You can see their wing pads here. So these are the wing pads, the little buds of the wings. And then they will do their final molt. Their wings will be developed and they'll be able to fly, and they can go about on the land. So what we're going to talk about today are actually the adult stages of the Zygoptera. So we'll start with the Calopterygidae. The Calopterygidae are also known as the broad-winged damselflies. And these are the ones that I used to see all the time. I still occasionally do see them. I do live near water, and they're very obvious when you see them because their wings tend to be a solid color. They either are all black or they will be clear with a big red spot on them. Additionally, their wings kind of have this strong sort of grooved shape on it, which kind of lends the idea of, if you are familiar with maple tree seeds, where they are those winged, I think they're called achenes, similar shape. Additionally, they tend to have tons and tons of crossveins. So it's kind of hard to see in this picture, but there's a ton of crossveins here. I have another picture of the Calopterygidae, but because there's a little more backlighting on it, it's much easier to see. But in this basal area of the wing, you can see it has all these little hatched crossveins in between. So you have tons of these little things here. So you have the major horizontal veins here. The top one is called the costa, and then the subcosta is below it. and between them you have all of these little hash marks, and these are the cross veins. And in the Calopterygids, they have tons of them, usually 10 or more, between the base of the wing and the nodus. So this groove that I was talking about, where the wing kind of bends up, this is called the nodus. And it's called the nodus in all of the dragonflies and damselflies. But the presence of these dark, solid-colored wings, or sometimes, like I said, they'll have a big red spot on it, and all of these little cross veins will tell you that it's a Calopterygid. Very, very simple to identify. Generally, you don't even need to see these cross veins. If you see an extremely dark-colored damselfly, and they have these solid, dark wings, or a gray wing with an even darker black spot on it, like this one has, you can be pretty confident that this is a Calopterygid. And they are very, very common across the continental United States and Canada. The next group are the Caenagrionids, which are called the narrow-winged damselflies, and we have it here. They are much more delicate than the Calopterygid. So this is the Calopterygid. It's it's a bulkier version of a damselfly compared to the Caenagrionids. And this is what the Caenagrionid looks like. Much more delicate. You can tell it's much thinner abdomen, much smaller wings. They don't have such a massive bent shape at the nodus there. So again, that's the nodus. Generally, this part up before the nodus is called the antenodus, or antenodal area. A-N-T-E meaning before, like an anteroom or an antechamber. The wings will be clear on these insects. Usually they're black and blue, kind of like this one is, or like this sort of teal green on the body color. And at rest, like the Calopterygids, the wings are held straight back over the body. But the wings in this case will be clear. So the wings are again held straight back, which will be important when we come to the next family. And in the wings, you will see that before the nodus, in this antenodal area, they only have 2 cross veins, unlike the Calopterygids, which had 10 or more. And below this is the M vein, or below this antenodal area will be the M3 vein. So this is the median horizontal vein, the main median vein, and it originates here. Where you see this curve, it originates kind of under the nodus, and that is a key characteristic. So frequently when we talk about adult insects, there is a lot of identifying features that are found on the wings. So you have to be a little more comfortable looking at the wings, but you will see, if you need confirmation, you can look for this curve, this median M3 curve near the nodus. But if you have a blue and black damselfly that's very delicate, clear wings, you likely have a Caenagrionid if you're in North America, north of Mexico, as well as if the wings are held straight back like this. And the reason the wings are important is because when we come to the next group, the Lestids, they also are small, delicately shaped. These are the spread-winged damselflies. They usually perch more vertically than the other damselflies do, which tend to perch horizontally. And when they do perch, their wings aren't held straight back. They're held in this spread splayed pattern, more similar to what how a dragonfly holds its wings, where it's not fully back and more out to the side. Additionally, they also have only 2 cross veins, unlike this, the Calopterygids. They only have these 2 cross veins in this antenodal area. The nodus is here. Additionally, the M3 vein, that curved vein, originates way farther back. So if you look at the Caenagrionids, it's close to that nodus, that bend in the wing, and with the Lestids, it's much, much farther back. So that's how you can distinguish them. If you only had a wing, you could tell them apart. But generally, when you see it, how it's perched and how it holds its wings, that will tell you what sort of creature it is. In this case, this is a Lestid. And those are the 3 major families of damselflies in North America. The two less common, so the protoneurids and the platystictids, these are only really found in the kind of the desert southwest. because they tend to be more tropical species, so they've kind of migrated up from Central America. The protoneurids are only found in the southern portion of Texas, kind of along the Mexican border, and the platystictids are only known from Arizona. So the protoneurids, there are 2 genera in the United States, and they have these delicate wings. They do have a longer body, but one of the other things that is noticeable about them compared to like the Calopterygids and the Caenagrionidae is they have much reduced wing venation. But again, unless you are collecting along the Mexican border, you're not going to see one of these. And it's the same with the platystictids. The platystictids are extremely slender. They have an extremely slender, narrow body. Their wings are tiny compared to their body. Because if you look at something like the Calopterygid, the wings are almost the entire length of the body. The same with the Caenagrionids. The wings are 3/4 of the length of the body. The Lestids, it's about 3/4 of the length of the body. The platystictids have, it's less than half. It's almost 1/3 of the length of the body. They're much, much shorter wings, much more delicate thread-like body. And like I said, this is only found in Arizona. These are primarily found in Asia and South America. So there's a little bit of migration coming up from South America through Central America to the Mexican border. And that's the only place that you will be able to see these. So this does not affect most people that would be collecting in North America, in the U.S. or Canada. So if you are in the U.S. or Canada and want to go hunting for these damselflies, one, you'll have to be very fast because they do move very, very quickly. But also, it's going to be one of these first 3 families: the Caenagrionids, the Calopterygids, or the Lestids. And that is basically all you need to know about the families of the Zygoptera in North America. And with that, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.